Hi everyone, my name is Mahan. In this series, I'm going to teach you how to use Marvel's Designer so you can create clothing for your characters much more easily. Alright, let's start learning. The Marvel's Designer interface is divided into two main areas, a 2D window and a 3D window. Each one has its own tools and purpose. First, let's take a look at the setting. Go to Setting or Preferences. In the User Interface section, you can change the measurement units. You can choose between centimeters, millimeters, and inches. Whenever you change something in the setting, Marvel's Designer will ask you to restart the software for the changes to take effect. Personally, I work in centimeters because that's what I'm most comfortable with. Since we are not changing anything right now, we'll just continue with the current setting. For now, we don't need to touch any of the other options. The first thing we're going to do is add an avatar. In the General section, you'll find the avatar option. Click on it to open the avatar library. By default, Marvelous Designer comes with several male, female, child, and stylized avatars. Just click on any of them and it will be added to the 3D viewport. You can also see the avatar silhouette in the 2D window. To zoom in and out, simply use your mouse wheel. To move around the scene, hold down the middle mouse button and drag. You'll notice the cursor changes to a hand icon. If you hold the right mouse button and drag, the cursor changes to circle signs and you can orbit around the avatar so you can view it from different angles. So remember, middle mouse button for panning and right mouse button for rotating around the character. There are also some useful shortcuts that helps you quickly switch between views. For example, press 1 for the left side view, number 2 for the front view, 3 other side, 4 the opposite side, 5 for the top view, 6 for the mirrored side view, 7 isn't being used here, and 8 for the back view, and the last one, 9 for the bottom view. These shortcuts make navigation much faster and save you from manually rotating around the avatar every time. Now let's delete this avatar and take a look at one of the stylized characters. This stylized avatar is great for animation project, cartoon characters, or fantasy design. If you're working on a stylized project, they can be very useful. Of course, you're not limited to the default avatars. You can download other characters or even import your own custom character into Marvel's Designer and create clothing specifically for that model. For example, I have a dear guy character that currently has a cap, shorts, sandals, and a few simple accessories. I like to create proper clothing for it, so let's import that character into Marvel's Designer. Before importing your character, it's a good idea to make sure the model has been retopologized and isn't overly heavy. Lower polygon counts usually perform much better inside Marvelous Designer. It doesn't matter whether you're using ZBrush, Maya, Blender, or another 3D software, you can export your character from all of them to this software. I've already prepared my objects in a folder. Inside Maya, go to File, choose Export Selection, give the file a name, and export it as an OBJ file. Now let's jump back into Marvelous Designer. Go to File, then Import, Add, and choose OBJ. Select the OBJ file you exported. An import window will appear with several options. One important setting here is scale. In my case, I changed the scale value from 100 to 1000 by adding one extra zero. Leave the rest of the setting at their default value. The millimeter unit works fine here. It may take a few seconds for the character to load into the scene. If you zoom out in the 2D window, you'll also be able to see the character silhouette. In the lower right corner of the interface, you can switch between different workspace layouts. You can choose to work entirely in the 3D viewport if you prefer. The next option is the default Marvelous Designer layout, which shows both the 2D and 3D views. This is the layout I personally use most of the time. Another layout adds an extra 3D viewport, allowing you to view your garment from multiple angles simultaneously. And the other one also you can add an extra viewport. For now, let's switch back to the default workspace. After importing your character, there is one thing I always recommend checking first. Enable Show Arrangement Points. You see several large blue arrangement points appear around the character. These points help determine where garment pieces are positioned before simulation. If they're not placed correctly, your clothing may not simulate properly. Take a moment to make sure the arrangement points are positioned correctly around the arms, legs, and head. Once you've checked them, you can turn them off again. Now let's make the character a little easier to work with. Select the character. On the right side, you can see the Property Editor window. Here you can change several character settings, including materials and colors and other things that I tell you later. Under the color section, click the small color box to open the color palette. I usually choose a color that's closer to the final look of the character, same as the concept. Let's also change the cap, short, and sandals to white. Yes, this makes the character feel a bit closer to the original concept design and makes the whole scene more enjoyable to work with compared to a plain gray avatar.